If you manage Macs for small businesses, your clients are about to ask you a question you need to have an answer for. Apple just released a free built-in MDM. Do they still need to pay for Jamf? I've been through the new Apple Business Portal. Here's the real answer, not the marketing answer. Here's what happened. On April 14th, Apple merged Apple Business Manager, Business Essentials, and Business Connect into one platform, Apple Business. One portal, one login, built-in zero-touch MDM, no licensing fee. For MSPs, that's a meaningful change. If you've got clients running 10, 15, 20 Macs, they may not need to pay for a third-party MDM anymore, or they still might. The answer depends on what they actually need, and most of the coverage out there isn't being honest about where the ceiling is.
We're going to walk through blueprints, the admin API, custom roles, and then get to the part that actually matters for your client conversations, where Apple Business is genuinely enough and exactly where it falls short, so you don't recommend it for the wrong environment. I've been managing Mac fleets through every iteration of Apple's deployment infrastructure since DEP was a thing. I watched ABM get born. I've migrated clients through every major change. This one is genuinely significant. Not hype, significant.
Let's start with what you're looking at now. Apple Business Manager handled your device enrollment, your managed Apple IDs, your VPP app licenses, and your ADE token management. That's the MDM backbone. All of that is still here. Business Essentials was Apple's own lightweight MDM product. Device management, iCloud storage, hardware support, built for small businesses that didn't want to pay for Jamf. Essentials customers got pulled into the same portal. Their configurations are now called blueprints. More on that in a minute. Business Connect was the business identity product, letting organizations claim their company profile in Apple Maps, Siri, and other Apple services. That's now the business identity section in the left nav. So when you log in now, you're looking at a unified left nav. Devices, people, locations, apps and books, business identity, and settings. That's it. Everything that used to live across 3 separate products lives here now. What didn't change? ADE enrollment still works the same way. Your MDM tokens are still valid. Your existing VPP assignments carried over. The plumbing didn't move, just the house around it. Blueprints are the new term for what used to be called enrollment configurations in Business Essentials. And if you were an ABM-only shop, meaning you used ABM with a third-party MDM like Jamf or Moisel, blueprints weren't something you dealt with before. They're now visible in your portal whether you use them or not. Here's what a blueprint is. It's a zero-touch deployment configuration that lives entirely inside Apple Business. You define what apps get pushed, what restrictions apply, what Wi-Fi profile gets configured, and when a device gets assigned to that blueprint and powered on, it configures itself. No MDM server in the middle. Apple's cloud handles the push. Navigate to the Devices section, then Blueprints in the left rail. You'll see a Create button and any existing blueprints if you were a Business Essentials customer. Creating one is straightforward. You name it, pick a platform, Mac, iPhone, iPad, set the restrictions you want, assign apps from your purchased licenses, add configuration payloads, and save. Then you assign devices to it by serial number or device group.
The UI is clean. It's genuinely clean. This is the best Apple has made this experience. But here's the ceiling. Blueprints are flat configurations. There's no conditional logic, there's no scope based on user group or department. Everyone assigned to a blueprint gets exactly the same config. If you need these 10 Macs get File Vault enforced and these other 20 don't, you can't do that with a single blueprint. You need 2. And managing dozens of blueprints with no inheritance or grouping gets messy fast. For a 15-device shop with one type of user, blueprints are plenty. For anything more complex, you're gonna feel the walls.
Admin API. This is the part most people are going to sleep on. Don't. Apple Business now has an admin API. REST-based, token authenticated, and it exposes things that MDM admins have been scripting around for years.
You can query device inventory programmatically. You can assign and reassign devices to MDM servers via API call. You can manage managed Apple IDs, create them, update them, deprovision them, all through the API. You can pull app assignment data. For automation-heavy shops, this is meaningful. If you're using something like Okta or Entra for identity, and you want device provisioning tied to user lifecycle events, a new hire triggers a device assignment, an offboard triggers a device wipe and reassignment, you now have an Apple native API to hook into that workflow. The API documentation is in the Apple Business Resources section. The base URL structure follows standard REST patterns. Authentication uses a private key you generate in the portal under Settings Integration. One honest caveat, the API is not feature complete yet. Device group management isn't exposed. Blueprint assignment via API is limited. This is V1. Watch the changelog.
Custom roles. This one's overdue. Apple Business now has custom roles for administrators. Before this, your options were full administrator or nothing meaningful. You could have a person with keys to the whole kingdom or basically a read-only view. That's a terrible access model for anything beyond a two-person IT shop. Custom roles let you define granular access. You can create a role that can manage devices but not manage people. A role that can assign apps but can't touch enrollment settings. A role scoped to specific locations, useful for retail or multi-site environments where a regional IT person should only see their region. To create one, go to People, then Roles in the left rail. Hit the plus button, name the role. Then you get a permission matrix, sections for devices, apps and books, people, locations, and settings, with checkboxes for view, edit, and manage at each level. Assign the role to an administrator's managed Apple ID, and they're scoped immediately. If you have any contractors or junior admins in your portal right now, and they're sitting on full admin access because that was the only option, fix that today. This is the first thing you should do after you finish watching this.
The MSP verdict. When to recommend Apple Business, when to keep Jamf. This is the conversation you're going to have with clients. Here's how to have it confidently. Under 50 devices, no compliance requirements, relatively standard user base, everyone gets the same apps, same restrictions, same config. That client does not need to pay $40 per device per year for Jamf Pro. Apple Business handles zero-touch via blueprints, basic automation via the admin API, and access control via custom roles. It's a real MDM for simple environments. Tell them to save the money. That's not a hedge. That's a real recommendation for a real use case. A 15-person creative agency with Macs, no HIPAA, no SOC 2, no contractors hitting sensitive data? Apple Business alone. Done. Here's where it falls apart. Compliance requirements. HIPAA, SOC 2, CIS benchmarks. Apple Business has no compliance reporting. None. You cannot generate an audit report. You cannot prove a configuration state. The moment a compliance framework enters the conversation, you need a real MDM. Script execution. You cannot run custom scripts on endpoints through Apple Business. Jamf's script library, Mosel's automation, Kanji's parameters, none of that exists here. If you need to push a shell script to 200 max, Apple Business can't do it. Conditional access scoping. You can't say, enforce file vault on Finance Macs, but not on the lab machines in the warehouse. Blueprints don't scope that way. Patch management beyond Apple updates. Third-party patching, Chrome, Zoom, Slack, doesn't exist in Apple Business. The line is this. Apple Business is a real MDM for simple environments. The moment your environment has complexity, compliance, scripting, conditional config, third-party patching, you need Jamf, Kanji, or Mosel on top of it. Apple Business and a third-party MDM aren't either or. They work together. Apple Business handles enrollment and identity. Your MDM handles management.
Migration audit. What to check now? If you were an existing ABM customer, your account migrated automatically. Here's what to audit. ADE tokens. Go to Settings, then MDM servers. Verify your MDM servers are still listed and their tokens show a valid expiration date. Automatic migration should have preserved these, but confirm it. Administrator accounts. Go to People, Administrators. Verify everyone who should have access does. Check for any service accounts that may have been affected. App and book licenses. Go to Apps and Books. Spot check your volume license counts and assignments. Any discrepancies? Contact Apple Business Support. They have a dedicated migration support path for the next 90 days. Business Connect data. If your organization was using Business Connect to manage your company's presence in Apple Maps and Siri, that data is now in Business Identity. Verify your locations and contact information carried over correctly. Blueprints if you were a Business Essentials customer. Your existing configurations became blueprints. Review them. The conversion was automatic, but the new UI may expose settings you haven't looked at in a while.
Quick recap. Apple merged ABM, Business Essentials, and Business Connect into Apple Business on April 14th. Migration was automatic. Audit your ADE tokens, admin accounts, and app licenses now. Blueprints are the new zero-touch deployment config UI. Clean, functional, flat. Works great for simple environments. Hits a ceiling fast when complexity enters. For SMBs under 50 devices with no compliance requirements, Apple Business alone is a legitimate management solution now. For anything more complex, you still need Jamf, Kanji, or Mosel, and the two work together, not against each other. Hit subscribe. This is the only channel doing Mac IT content at this depth, not consumer tips, actual MSP and admin work. The full Apple Business versus Jamf Pro head-to-head, feature by feature, cost analysis, compliance comparison, who wins for each use case, that video drops May 14th. It's already scripted. That's the one to bookmark and send your clients when they ask you to justify the Jamf bill. Link in the description when it's live. See you there.